Hello and welcome to a special edition of Latitude at Frontline. I'm your host, Nirupama Subramanian. We are coming up to the 38th anniversary of the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord, which was signed between the Rajiv Gandhi government and the J.R. Jayawardena government at Colombo on July 29, 1987. The accord introduced the 13th Amendment in the Sri Lanka Constitution. The 13th Amendment sought to address the Tamil demand for Tamil Eelam within a united Sri Lanka. It created a system of provinces and elected provincial councils and a provincial government. The Colombo government would share limited powers with the provincial governments. India forced the Tamil militant groups, including the LTTE, to accept the solution. As part of the accord, the Indian Peacekeeping Force, IPKF, was sent to monitor the surrender of arms by the militant groups. The LTTE rejected the solution and the IPKF was caught in a war that it did not expect to fight. On the other hand, the Eelam People's Revolutionary Liberation Front was the only Tamil party to contest the first provincial council elections held in 1988 under the protection of the IPKF. The election was hardly a perfect one amid an overall atmosphere of war-like violence, threats, intimidation, and killings. The EPRL won many seats uncontested in the merged, predominantly Tamil Northeast province, comprising 6 districts, including Jaffna, Trincomalee, and Batticaloa. The EPRL gave up its weapons and staked everything to make the Northeast provincial government work, but paid heavily for it. I will be speaking to Varadaraja Perumal of the Eelam People's Revolutionary Liberation Front, the first and last Chief Minister of Northeast Sri Lanka, who has recently taken the initiative to campaign for the full implementation of the 13th Amendment and the restoration of the provincial council system. Mr. Perumal, welcome to Latitude.
Thank you very much. After so long, our meeting was around, I think around 25 years as we met about 2000 or 2001 in Colombo.
In Colombo, that's right. Mr. Perumal, you had to be unceremoniously evacuated from Trincomalee, which was then the headquarters of the Northeast provincial government, when the Indian intervention in Sri Lanka came to an abrupt end in March 1990, when the IPKF was completely pulled out by the VP government. And you have lived in India ever since, more or less. You've gone back a couple of times to Sri Lanka, but you have lived in India mostly. But last week you went back to Sri Lanka with a mission, and your mission is apparently to seek the revival of the 13th Amendment of the provincial council system and a full implementation of the 13th Amendment. You held meetings in Jaffna, you held meetings in Trincomalee. What is the impetus for doing this? Are you planning to get back into Sri Lanka's politics? And what is the response that you got from the ground force?
In fact, in your question, there are many questions inside. However, I try to answer that. See, my present mission is not already very comprehensively planned or anything. But I always felt the devolution part in the Sri Lankan constitution should be implemented properly and fully. This is the voice I am continuously giving for last 30 years, even after that Northeast provinces lax or something. But among the Tamils, there were so many other slogans came up. People were talking about Tamil nation, recognition of Tamil nation, recognition of right of self-determination. And then, the demanding for the federal solution. So there were lack of concentrated demand on the implementation of the devolutionary process within the constitution of Sri Lanka, within the present constitution in Sri Lanka. So, but now the time has come, the almost 90% of the Tamil political parties, they feel now, see, this is the only way to we go. That's the present constitution with regard to the revolution should be implemented fully. I am adding the word further, the proper. Is I always add the word. And there's nothing special of that, and there's no any other special story or any force behind it. I'm very clear of that. But it is a social duty, part of the social duty of my political life. It's not the career; it's my political life. So I feel that I have to do that. In that conscious only, I started this. Response from the Tamil political parties are very good. I met the EPRL leader, Mr. Suresh Premachandra, with his colleagues, and I met the Federal Party leader, Tamil Katchi leader, Mrs. Rajana, and I met EPDP, Elam People's Democratic Party's leader, Mr. Atlas Devananda. I met the Equality Party leader, Mr. Sandra Kumar, and I spoke over the phone with the Mr. Areklanan Selvam, leader of the Telo, and similarly with Mr. Siddharthan, leader of the plot. Beyond that, I met various socially, politically important people who are very actively conscious and interest and enthusiastic in implementation of the revolution in Sri Lanka.
So you're trying.
With all background I am doing, I have started this mission. I don't know where it will end and it will how long it will take it and what were the difficulties we have to make it. But it should be a very collective effort of all the Tamil political parties, not only all Tamil political parties, I feel all Tamil speaking political parties. Tamil political parties, Muslim People's Political Party, political parties among the upcountry Tamils, and also the progressive parties among the Sinhalese.
So, your effort this time was to build a consensus among Tamils. Did you also meet anyone in the national parties? You're saying that you have to build a consensus even among the progressive Sri Lankan national parties. So, and Sinhalese parties, Sinhalese dominated parties. So, did you meet anybody from the government, from any of those parties, from the opposition?
My stay in Sri Lanka this time for a very short period. It's only at 11 days. So I was able to meet only the people, only the political leaders in Jaffna. But I met various other socially important people in other parts of the northeast, not in the Batipla or the Ambara district. But some persons came from there also and met me. I did not have time to go to the southern part of Sri Lanka and to meet the other national members of other national party, leaders or members of other national parties. But definitely, I will do that.
Right. So, what is about your effort? What is the timing? I mean, you've chosen this particular time for what?
It's not time, but the timing is the circumstances is important, not the time. Now the circumstances prevailing in Sri Lanka, particularly among the Tamils, I told you there are strong feeling from the Tamil parties and the Tamil-speaking parties. The Sri Lankan constitution, present Sri Lankan constitution, provide what they call substantial provisions towards the devolution. And not only the constitution, along with that another act called Provincial Councils Act, number 42 of 1997. So, and there are some other legal drafts are there. So, all these things are very important to be implemented. My view is the devolution is very important to the northeast and also in a different form in the upcountry area. But these are the three areas where the north, the east and the upcountry area, where the minority nationalities in Sri Lanka, concentrated. And these three areas, and particularly northeast, are due to war and also the other negligence of the rules of the governance in the last 15 to 16 years. The northeast is very backward. For example, northern province, the education standard of northern province, in the last month the results came out of the 10th class. In the 10th class results, in comparison to all Sri Lankan province, northern province is the last. See, which was in the first in Sri Lankan history. So that itself shows the education, social development and the economic development. And second thing is the law and order is very poor. And among the youngsters, the drugs, ganjas and all spread because there is no legal and also the other political social leadership. They are unable to have with the proper institutions, with the proper legal state institution to deal with all these things, whether the education or social matters or any other matters, cultural matters. So in the northeast, the largely prevailing situation is the youngsters wants to go abroad. So it happens in Sri Lanka southern part also now. So it shows the devolution is very important, that the regional people must be governed by the representatives of the region. Because they will have the direct responsibility, they will have the direct relationship with the people, and the regional people will have direct relationship with them. So that is what I insist the revolution.
I asked about the timing also because there is a new government in place in Sri Lanka. It is a JVP-led government. The head of the JVP, Mr. Anurakumara is the president of Sri Lanka. And in the past, the JVP has been very determinedly against the 13th Amendment, the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord itself. You know this better than anybody else, how they launched a rebellion against the presence of the IPKF, and the JVP itself has been against sharing power with Tamils. So in that atmosphere, do you think that your initiative is going to meet with any success, that the government will have the political will or the inclination to actually implement the provisions in the constitution which have come through the 13th for devolution to...
First of all, from the president to even the last government servants, their oath is to uphold the constitution. It's not the part of the constitution. It's the part with the entire full part of the constitution should be upheld by the president to the last government. So it is their responsibility. So whether it is will be successful or not, it is up to them. They have to make successful, because it is part of the identity, the promise to the people. That was how they came to power. That's one. Second thing is, of course, as you said, JVP was a part of the Sinhala Buddhist chauvinistic enclave about last 10 years before. But in last 10 years, they were not that level. They were talking about the regional, all communities have to live together, and there should not be any communism. There should not be any use of communism to against the people one to another. So that was last year. In the last 1 year, particularly the President Anurakumara Disnayak, he has promised wherever he goes, even from Jaffna to Kannada, he promised that he will accord provincial council election. He will ensure the smooth and strong function of the provincial council system. So I hope that this government is non-communal and non-chauvinistic, and then they are in a way by their oath they are committed to implement the devolution, and not only the devolution, even the democratization process. Expanding the democratization process is very important. The making of freedom of judiciary, and ensuring the entire part of the fundamental rights, and making the public service more independent, and then making the provincial council system autonomous, strong, effective, and efficient. So I hope so, and then with that hope only I am working. But then there's a part, the political parties have responsibility. They have to take this matter to the government. A democratic environment is there, but Sri Lanka is a democratic country, it's not a dictatorial country. So therefore political parties can act peacefully, and as I mean peacefully, mean non-violent. They can act it, and the government has to respond it, or otherwise there will be a conflict between the people and the government, people and the state.
Right.
That should not happen.
Right. So the provincial council system was primarily introduced as a solution to the Tamil demand, so for devolution to the northeast. But because it could not be an asymmetric devolution, it was introduced for the entire country. So it's a bit ironic that provincial council systems were in place, was in place for the whole country from 1988 up to 2017, whereas for the northeast it was only your council, in 1988, very short-lived experiment in the northeast, and another election took place after the war in
2013 to 2018, and then 2007 to 2017 in the eastern
in the eastern province. So now it's caught in, now the whole thing is caught in some legal, it's gone into a legal limbo, because in 2017 the government wanted to reform the system and all that. So what is the hope that it will come out of that system, especially when there is no talk of changing the constitution itself and dropping the 30? There are lots of politicians in Sri Lanka, Sinhalese politicians, are saying let's just drop the 13.
The dropping or abolition of the 13th Amendment is not so wise in Sri Lanka at the moment. And again, that the present government has committed to the public that they will implement, they will hold the election, provincial council election, and make sure that the provincial council system works. So therefore, how they are going to do it, when they are going to is a plus. And there is no much legal limbo in holding the election, because in 2017, one act was brought to reform the election system. You know that Sri Lanka has, throughout Sri Lanka has a proportionate representative system, and provincial councils also had the same thing. But in 2017, they introduced a mixed system. For mixed system, there should be observances delimitation for the provincial elections. When there's a delimitation commission report came, the parliament rejected. So my argument is, when the delimitation commission report rejected by the parliament, even the 2017 act could not be enforced, because the main part and which makes the provincial council election to be held, and when it became invalid, the report become not acceptable, then the act itself become invalid, null and void. But I don't know what is the interpretation of these Sri Lankan lawyers or the courts, and that way of approach was not taken to the Supreme Court in Sri Lanka. But now, if the government wants to hold the election, it's very simple, and for which one MP, Mr. called Rajamanikam, he has moved a bill to the parliament that to abolish or to repeal the 2017 act. Once that repeal and the earlier system is restored in the parliament, the provincial council election can be held. But if they go for a delimitation again, it will decay. So that has read the provincial council minister at the center. He has said that, and that debate has come, and the intention of the government also is suspected.
Right. I just want to ask you now about your own experience of running the Northeast Provincial Government in 1988. By all accounts, it was very, very difficult to get any devolution, any powers from the center, from the Premdasa government, and it was a complete standoff, and it really failed on that issue. So, can you talk about that a bit?
See, no government can survive. Even no state system can survive without its own protective force. In fact, the duty of the Sri Lankan state is to protect and nurture and develop and make sure of smooth functioning of the provincial system. And Sri Lankan government, Sri Lankan state did not do. And state did not help properly in those days. And more than that, Mr. Premadasa's government came into power, and then he became an ally of LTTE, which completely opposed the provincial council system. So the Sri Lankan state itself collaborated with the terrorist activities or group which carried the terrorism. But then the functioning of the provincial system was unable to be done. And for us, the Indian Army was there. Indian Army also was withdrawn. So we became to the teeth of the Sri Lankan forces plus LTTE. So which we were unable to continue that we had to leave. After that, the provincial council system did not work, but governors continued. System was there. Governor was there. But the elected government was not there. So in 2007 only, in the eastern province, the merged northeast province was demerged through a Supreme Court case, and the election was held in 2012, and it continued to be till 2018 or 17. And in northern province, 2013 only, even though 2009, though war was over, 2013 only election was held, and the retired Supreme Court judge became the chief minister. 5 years it functioned, but then it lapsed in 2018 for its term, and after that election was not held in any part of Sri Lanka. So almost last 7 to 8 years, Sri Lanka has no elected provincial council system, a provincial government. But the provincial system is there. Governors' rules are there. The government of the center is ruling directly. So therefore the system is there, only election to be held.
I just wanted to take you back to your time as chief minister. So when the IPKF was being withdrawn, in a final act of defiance, you turned the provincial council into a constituent assembly to draft a constitution for Tamil Eelam, and it was seen as a unilateral declaration of independence at that time. What made you
see that declaration, that resolution should be unilateral? Unilateral in the sense not of mine. It was a Northeastern Provincial Council's declaration. That's one. It was debated and a resolution was passed and it was released. One. Second thing is, both governments, the Indian government as well as the Sri Lanka, they promised us to give up arms and to give up the struggle for Eelam, and we will give you a provincial system with sufficient power, almost the equivalent to the state system in Sri Lanka. Exact word is there. Right? But what happened? Nothing. And round of India was washing its hand. The Indian army was withdrawing. And Sri Lankan army was collaborating with LTTE. And Sri Lankan president was washing his hand. So we were left with nothing. So we thought, okay, then we leave. We have to declare something. And we have to declare where we started, where we were before the provincial council system came into force, and with the promise of the both government, but the both government did not respond to continue that. So therefore, and that resolution was passed. That was not a Elam declaration. With that, after 1 year, we will do that. But then by the time the Northeast Provincial Council was unable to give function, we know that. But we want to voice our tragic situation. Not our situation, the whole Tamil people's situation, the Tamil people who lost their lives for damage.
Right. So, because of that whole incident, and of course because of your participation in the provincial council process in that system, you being a controversial figure in both Tamil politics and in Sri Lankan national politics, at a time that large sections of Tamil people had accepted the LTTE's leadership and Prabhakaran's leadership, and you were seen as a sole representative by a large section of Tamil people. You were seen as an Indian stooge. On the Sinhalese side, this declaration of virtual declaration of independence, I know you said that it's not that, but it was seen as that. That spoiled your reputation among the in the Sri Lankan polity. So, and you had to be evacuated to India after that, and you lived there after that. So, considering all this, are you the best advertisement or advertiser of the 13th Amendment?
Well, see, because of the controversial resolution, I became more popular throughout Sri Lanka, even to the ordinary citizen of Sinhalese.
You mean you're well known?
Become well known. It is part of the politics. That's one. Second thing is by that I made it that the devolution is very important. The Tamil people believed LTTE because they thought that LTTE would make sure of Tamilism, independent Tamilism. It did not happen. Right? So, see, if anyone promised that, this part will become independent, so the people will celebrate that leader. It's not new. Anywhere it will happen. So, it happened to Prabha. But at last, Prabha did not provide anything to the Tamils, even a minimum. So, therefore, see, whatever said and done, we made it. We provided it.
Your stand was
proved the last 40 years history of Sri Lanka proved that we were right and continue to be our right. And we are seeing the same thing. After that acceptance of provincial council system, after acceptance of Indo-Sri Lanka Accord, we never raised any slogan for independence. Even on federalism, we did not demand that. Federalism is a good solution where multi-ethnic society is living. But in Sri Lankan context, in Sri Lankan legal context, in Sri Lankan constitutional context, we can't go that straight into one shot or one jump. It will take time. And the Sri Lankan whole people has to decide whether they need or it's not only Tamil people. The whole people has to decide. Input the Sinhalese has to decide. So that is a different part. What I say is now is not 13th Amendment. It's not 16th Amendment. It's not simply provincial. So all put together. Yes. All are part of the devolutionary process. All have to be implemented properly. All have to be interpreted properly. Wrong interpreted, that is why the implementation also is become wrong. Implementation also is become very incomplete. So therefore, the proper interpretation, the each and every sentence, paragraph, and the words are, you can say, whichever with regard to the devolution, whichever in the Sri Lankan constitution, in the Provincial Council Act, they are copied from Indian constitution. Then how the Sri Lankan, the provincial council system in Sri Lanka cannot be an effective, where it is effective in India, it is efficient in India. Here is the chief ministers are powerful. The same legal provisions are provided in Sri Lankan constitution. So therefore it's a very wrong interpretation. That is creating the wrong implementation. So proper interpretation, full implementation are the must for devolutionary process, which will make, when that become a reality, that will make the confidence of the people to have that, okay, there's a solution.
I'm just going to come in a bit to the Indian role. I just want to ask you before that now there's a younger generation in Sri Lanka and the Tamil in Jaffna and the northern areas and everywhere, and they voted in the presidential election. They gave a jolt to the Tamil parties by actually many of them seem to have voted for the JVP. So the JVP won the plurality of seats in North and East Sri Lanka, right? And also there is a demand, there is a feeling that the 13th Amendment itself is not enough. Times have changed. We need a new kind of solution. What is your response to that?
See, that is what I say. Tamil people will think that 13th Amendment is not enough. But what government must do it, at least to implement the 13th Amendment.
Meaning what is there in the constitution?
Yeah, that's right. If you not implement that, I'm going to give more. I'm going to give the federalism. Oh, I'm going to give the 13 plus. So why you are taking the excuse of that people are not satisfied with the 13th Amendment? That means at least you are not giving that. You are not making sure of that. Right. Then saying the same thing. So it is not a correct, it's not a logical, it's not a rational.
You spoke about how the Indian government and the Sri Lankan government had underwritten those assurances. At this point, is there a role for the Indian government? Because India's priorities itself have changed. Earlier, the Tamil issue was right on top of those priorities. Now it seems over the last 10 years, maybe even more, a dozen years, we have seen that the Tamil issue is really has slid right to the bottom of those priorities. And the geopolitical changes in the Indian Ocean region, in the Asia Pacific or the Indo-Pacific region are the issues that are preoccupying the government. Therefore, the rise of China, Chinese influence in Sri Lanka. So, at this point, it seems that they do not want to push the Sri Lankan government beyond the point on any internal matter. How do you respond to this?
See, the devolution is very important for development. This ethnic conflict in Sri Lanka is a major reason for the economic fall of this or economic crisis of Sri Lanka. It's obviously understood. So therefore, that ethnic crisis has to be resolved. And the multi-ethnic good relationship and the reconciliation is very important for peace of Sri Lanka. Peace in Sri Lanka is very important to India. So it's not that India is away. Even the geopolitical interests need the good relationship between India and Sri Lanka. For good relationship of India and Sri Lanka, there should be a communal peace in Sri Lanka. Communal peace in Sri Lanka can be attained only by the devolutionary process. Because devolutionary process ensure the democracy and the fundamental rights, safety of the Sri Lankan development of that region, of the Tamil-speaking people in that age. So therefore it is a little need. In how Indian government is looking, I don't know. But I am saying this is how Indian has to go. But at the same time, every time, repeatedly, even the Tamils in Sri Lanka might have forgotten about the 13th Amendment. India never forgot it. India always repeatedly said.
That's right.
Right. So the devolution is the substantial devolution and meaningful devolution. These are the words used by the government of India.
Yeah.
So what is the meaningful devolution? What is the substantial devolution? So this is the one. Even substantial devolution might be more than the devolution, the provisions of in the constitution of Sri Lanka. What I say is not more. See, what is there implement? But properly implement. Properly and fully implement. That is what I say. My words are very clear. Proper and full implementation of the devolution provisions in the Sri Lankan constitution.
So, the last during your previous experiment when you were the chief minister, we saw that in Tamil Nadu there was not that much support for that because there was no support for the IPKF at that time because it was felt that they were fighting the Tamil people, and as a result, your Northeast Provincial Council also did not get that much support. At this point, I think the Tamil Nadu government is more preoccupied with the
Issues.
the fisheries issue, the conflict over, the marine resources between Tamil Nadu fishermen and the fishermen of northern Sri Lanka. So is there a role that the Tamil Nadu government should be playing to push this 13th Amendment also?
See, I'm not separating Tamil Nadu people and Tamil Nadu government and Tamil Nadu leaders, political leaders or strategic. I'm putting together. And Tamil Nadu government is the main representative of the Tamil Nadu and legal and legitimate representative of the Tamil Nadu people. So therefore, what's very important for us. Tamil Nadu, how Tamil Nadu may have a different issues in this amendment. But I don't think Tamil Nadu government or the Tamil Nadu leaders, whoever it is, Tamil Nadu political parties, have given up the Tamils of Sri Lanka. I think they always will have the feeling of the Tamil Nadu, Sri Lankan Tamils are their brothers and their blood relatives. And it's not simply years, it's thousands of years. So therefore, in this matter, in this materiality, Tamil Nadu has to show the interest, and Tamil Nadu make sure that the government of India is effective. So I hope in that way Tamil Nadu has role. How it is to be done, it will be done, I don't know. But the role of the Tamil Nadu is very, very important.
Thinking back on those years, it was, it collapsed, the Northeast Provincial Council, your government collapsed, you came here to India. The EPRLF leadership itself was wiped out in an attack by the LTTE in Chennai. Your leader Padmanabha was killed in that attack, and so many other people died along with him. And the EPRLF never recovered from that blow. Would you have, looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently in your involvement with the Northeast Provincial Government and that whole Provincial Council system?
No, because I think we are right, and so far, and then and we did rightly in every step. There were so many unfortunate parts that all happened. That was a different thing. But still, see, after 38 years, after 37 years of that provincial council, still now the people feel that the same provincial council system must come back. And even many people, they say, had they supported that provincial council on those days, Now the Tamils would have developed their own area, and so much of Tamils wouldn't have gone abroad, so that what we call the destruction of the Tamil social formation wouldn't have happened. Now the social fabric of the Tamil society has come into a very tragic stages.
And Tamil politics itself is in disarray.
Because it has come into a full electoral politics. Yeah, there are so many parties. The only thing is, when there are so many political parties, there are so many political policies, political differences, but there's a common matter, the common interest. That common interest should be upheld.
Are you in touch with anybody in the Indian government about all this? Is anybody?
No, not yet. I think it ended about last more than 15 years. My relationship with Jaishankar, Foreign Minister of India, my friendship with Mr. Hardeep Puri, both were in Colombo. And I had a very close relationship in those days. And they were very active in the provincial council system, implementation of the provincial council system. Though they are very powerful ministers now. But I am nothing. See, I have nothing to take to them. Because I am not a Tamil leader. I am not a very important political leader. I am not a political representative of the Tamils. So therefore, I'm not thinking about the government of India. What I want is the Tamil leaders in Sri Lanka, Tamil speaking leaders in Sri Lanka, the leaders, even the Sinhalese leaders who are interested of implementation of the devolution, the part of the Sri Lankan constitution, they have to meet India, government. And not only the government of India, they have to meet Tamil Nadu government, they have to meet Sri Lankan government. And they have to tell the Sri Lankan people the devolution of in Sri Lanka will not divide Sri Lanka. It will unite Sri Lanka more. It will unite the Sri Lankan people more. So that campaign should be there. That should be done by the leaders in Sri Lanka, not by me.
But it could be counterproductive also, because I mean, the minute India gets involved, then the southern Sri Lankan polity becomes apprehensive, closes ranks against the Tamils.
This is, I think, now a political thingy, and some sort of psyche in with regard to the India. When the Sri Lankan economic crisis, they need India. Why don't they say that India should be involved in Sri Lanka? You got $4 billion. So when South need, it can go to India. When the people of Sri Lanka wants, they should not go to India. So this is a very chronic thing. You see, why we need India? Because India is our only neighbor. It's Indian border, Sri Lankan border between India and the border between Sri Lanka and India is only 30 kilometers. That's all. So we need India. India needs Sri Lanka. So Indo-Sri Lanka relationship will be in everything.
I'm just, we're running out of time, Perumal, so I'm just going to bring this interview to a close. But I want one last question I'll ask. I recall meeting you in 1995, I think, in Ajmer, when you were living under very protection of the
Anyadwas. When I was in Anyadwas.
Yeah, and you were being protected by the CRPF.
Yes.
Before that you had lived in Chanderi.
Yes, 2 years in Chanderi.
And that was also very heavy protection.
4 months in Latitude.
Lakshadweep. For a while you were in Kathmandu also. So at this moment, are you protected? Are you still protected?
No, I'm an ordinary citizen.
Ordinary citizen of Sri Lanka.
Of Sri Lanka. Living I have got an OAC card, Overseas Citizen of India card. So I live in India also. My daughters are Indians and they are living in India. Right. So therefore I had to live in India. But I'm not expecting any threat at the moment. Whether any threat is there, that only the government will know.
Yeah.
Indian government and Sri Lankan will know. I will not know.
Right.
Well, I don't have any intelligent people to give any report of my security. But that's not the issue for me. I'm very happy of being an ordinary, simple citizen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Varadaraja Perumal, for that very interesting interview and recalling your own experience, and for finding the time to do this interview in Chennai while you're on your way back to Coimbatore, where you now live. Thank you so much.
And same similarly, my thanks also, and this interview will give a good impression the viewers or readers, and because it's not against the government of Sri Lanka. That is what everyone must know. That I'm not working against the government of Sri Lanka or Sinhalese people, or any to create any trouble in the matter of good relationship between Indo-Sri Lanka, because I need a good relationship of Indo-Sri Lanka between India and Sri Lanka, and I need a good relationship between the Tamils and Sinhalese in Sri Lanka, and I wish for a strong and non-communal and developed, peaceful Sri Lanka.
Thank you, viewers, for watching this first part of a special edition of Latitude at Frontline. We will be bringing you the second part next week. Please watch out for that. Thank you very much.